Here we go, guys. Another clutch job, but this isn't a dual clutch like the others. We have picked up ourselves a manual transmission 2012 Ford Focus with a bad clutch for 800 bucks. So let's go. All right, it is now time for a test drive. Windows down. All right, let's go. This thing is nasty in here. Look how dirty this is. Wow. Oh, shit. Surprisingly, the car jerked forward in neutral and scared me. So no test drive. Here she is. Don't mind the hood up. I was jumping the battery. So let's take a look around. So it is very, very dirty. Needs a good bath. We do have steelies, which aren't bad, but we do need hubcaps. It looks pretty bad, just steelies. I don't like the look of that. We do have decent tires, so that's good. Moving down the car, I'll show you inside. It is a train wreck inside this car. We do have the manual transmission, which is awesome, but we do have very highly stained seats. They are light colored from the factory, which are just hard not to stain, but this is extremely dirty. I think he was a mechanic. You can see over there, disgusting, ripped armrest. Yeah, lots of cleaning, lots of dog hair. So pretty nasty inside. Let's move down. So not really any dents, dings, or scratches till you get to about right here. And if you do see, it is starting to bubble under the paint, which is not great, but it doesn't look terrible. And some down here. Very dirty on the back. We have some rust coming down from the trunk lip right here, which, you know, we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do about that. That'll come off on the bumper, I think, but we might have to replace the actual trunk. Now this side is not as bad with the rust. As you can see, there is some right around here, but you know, right here is pretty good. And then if you look down the rest of the car, it looks actually pretty good. Like, you know, there's one little ding right here. The bumper isn't terrible. It does have a crack at the bottom, but I think it's salvageable. And then obviously it just really needs cleaned badly. So that's about it. Both fog lights are in place, which we're not used to that, and does have a clean title. So at the end of the day, I don't think it's too bad. The manual transmissions are harder to come by, so I think that even with the higher mileage, I think we got something that we can, you know, sell for and make some money. So the first thing we're gonna do is check for the cylinder under here, see if the hydraulic had failed. All right, and here's our pedal, so let's follow that up. I do not see anything leaking. Nothing on the carpet. I don't think our issue is there. So we're gonna keep going. Before we went any further, I had to give this thing a bath because it was so dirty it was bothering me. I mean, it already looks like a million times better just with a simple wash. I don't think I have to buff this car out. Then it was time to get all this dog hair out. Okay, and you can see it's far from perfect, but we did get a lot of the hair off. So it looks a lot better on this side. I'm gonna go ahead with the vacuum and vacuum this up, do it on the other side, and then go in the front and see you know, how bad it looks after that. There is literally hair everywhere in this car. Oh my god, this is gonna be fun. Everywhere. And what is it? Looks like the toilet paper's been used. Stuff you find in cars, like seriously. Wow, look at this. Oh my god. This is terrible. Let's get to work. And the never-ending cleaning continued. And again, obviously it is still very dirty. We got to do a very deep cleaning, but just at least see what we're working with, get a lot of the loose dirt out. I got one seat left to do, and then we are on to the next. And then it was time to take out those rust stains that have been dripping down that bumper. See if we can get out with that buffer. And we did get all of that rust off of this side, as you can see. I mean, it looks like a brand new bumper. And then you can see this side, that side, this side. So we're gonna finish this and I'll show you what the bumper looks like after. And there is our bumper. Look at that. Huge difference, guys. I mean, most people might have said they had to replace the bumper, but we just went ahead. We buffed it right out. Then I had to buff the headlight. We'll see what our end result looks like. I can already see a difference. Look at that. And you look at the other one. Oh yeah. And our other headlight now is done too, so
while Mr. Garrett's on vacation, we're showing this car. Showed that one yesterday. And ta-da! We got the car put back in the driveway the right direction. Because he wasn't paying attention and the tow truck driver put it in our backyard, or in our driveway backwards. So now that we got this in the back ready to go, I'm gonna get it set up on the jack stands, all that jazz. All right, so I got this bad boy into the back and facing the correct direction. But now I wanna clean it off a little because I don't want any of that stuff falling on my face when I'm working on the car. Spider falls on me or a bug and I'll scream bloody murder. So this is the first stick shift one we've done, but it should be simple. It's not too different from what we've been doing. So he's taking it for a quick test drive. I know he'll love it. So the gentleman who came was actually looking for his father, and he loves it. Dad's not available till tomorrow. So if I don't sell it at 4:30 to my next person, then they will be buying it tomorrow. Now we'll start taking the battery box out. Fingers crossed nothing is rusted, because that's always a pain. Naturally, the bolts were rusted, so I ended up breaking one of them. But that's just what happens when you're doing this with older cars. Now, before you can pull that battery out, you're gonna have to remove the air box, which is simple. It's just a little clip on the end holding the hose on. All right, so I put the extender on, and as you can see, been hammering it down, hammered it in, and I'm starting to get it out. You just got to be slow because you don't want to strip it. So, took way longer than a bolt should ever take, but I put the socket in, extender, hammered it with my little pink hammer, real freaking hard, and slowly, very slowly, got her out. So, I got the first one, I got the third one. Second one, though, is damn near flat. So, I'm gonna take my grinding tool, make a cut, and then we can back it out that way. Now, we've got a nice etched in line so that we can try to undo it with a screwdriver. All right, so now that we got our line etched in, let's see if we can pull this bad boy out. So, literally, when I went to go unbreak it, it literally snapped the bolt in half. So seeing that didn't work, gonna do the old drill it out method. Not my preferred method, but it is my last resort. Not the fun way, but the way it'll get done. So, took a while, but I basically ground off the top of it so I can get the washer out, so I can pull the battery box out, and then drill out the rest of that rusted, busted bolt.
So I'm back. Brittany got us going here, got a lot of this done. So when I got back, it really, wouldn't take me a lot of time. And the first thing I decided to do was go ahead and drain that transmission fluid. The drain plug for the manual transmission is right by that back mount. All right, now we go ahead and we remove this bracket right here. Just like that. And then we notice there's almost no brake fluid at all in the reservoir. So it's apparent that obviously something is leaking in here. You can see it's caked on. I mean, in some areas it's worse than others. You can see where it stops. So before we go ahead and drop this transmission, with our brake fluid level so low, we have to figure out really where it's all going. And we got our brake fluid .4. We're pouring right into the reservoir. All right, guys, you can see our brake level fluid did go down significantly. So obviously we've got a leak somewhere. All right, and we now have brake fluid inside there. Yep, you can see it dripping right there. There's our leak, guys. The transmission is coming out. So I wasted no time at all getting started. First was getting the throttle body out of the way. Then I started on the top bell housing bolts. Wow, those were not very tight. All right, next step is we went ahead and got our ball joints out. Over here, show you. These ones were a little bit of not easy. This is what I did to my crowbar. Oh yeah, Harbor Freight quality. There you go. And lots of PB blaster, and lots of hitting with this guy, which is getting kind of beat up too. Then I zapped that axle nut right off. All right, next. Then I moved on to the axle carrier bearing. It's off, and we're going to go ahead and screw these nuts right back on, so we don't go ahead and lose these. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna hit this out. See it moving. All right, and we are out. Okay, and then we just go ahead and tuck this right in there. We don't actually have to take the axle out, which is pretty nice. We just took the bolts of our starter bracket, so now this is gonna come off. Next is to take out the starter. All right, with the two bolts out, you can see that the starter is now out. Grommet is still in place, so we're good there. We don't have to get an extra one. But we're just gonna pull this out and put it to the side over there because we don't actually have to remove it. Saves us a step. Won't get in the way of removing the transmission. So let's go ahead and just get this to the side. And so you can see we did move the starter out from there, but we did move it to the side. Like I said, we don't actually have to fully remove it. All right, guys, and here is all of that brake fluid coming out. I took the bolts out of the bell housing, and you can see it just literally started dripping a puddle. Yeah, it's coming from that slave cylinder. Okay, now the bell housing bolts are all out right here. They're all out in the back. So now we just have two bell housing bolts in the back there. And then we should be pretty close, guys. I forgot, we got a ground right here we need to take off. That one was actually a little difficult to break. Okay, and we did get the axle through, as you can see right there. So we're good. And our axle is out. Guys, we're almost ready to drop this bad boy. All right, and my favorite part, we are now hooked up with the engine hoist. So we're gonna get the two mounts out, and honestly, guys, we should be ready to drop this transmission. So we got our 18mm on right now on our impact. We're gonna take off that top bracket, which is then underneath connected to, which we need to also take off, is the last mount. That's a transmission mount that mounts up to the body. And then this thing should be free. Let's go ahead and get this done. All right, you ready? Yep. Nice. You now take those, I believe those are 15mm.
What's those?
These guys right here. And the transmission is out.
Looks like she's been through a furnace.
She's been through it.
Definitely been through it. through and through. This will be a fun cleaning job for me.
Yeah, because I did last time, so you're up.
So this is what's crazy, guys. Look, you can see the balls. Gary, come here.
Yeah. Yeah, the ball bearing, yep.
Look.
Mm-hmm.
They're just sitting.
We're gonna get this axle out real quick. I think we're going to. Yeah, we're close.
You're like, that's the plan.
Yeah. You don't have enough leverage underneath to get it out, so I just drop it, pull it right out.
Oh, now that's beautiful.
All right, we got the bolts out for the slave cylinder. So now I think we can just go ahead and, yep, just remove it like that. And here we go, let's clean this.
So it's like a pressure washer.
After I sprayed it all down with brake cleaner, it was time to take my rag and give it a really good wipe down and get all that debris and dirt off. I suggest getting a whole pack of shop rags for this job. This part does take a long time, so be prepared and be patient. After I was done cleaning up the inside of the transmission, it was time to take off the old clutch. Alright, there we go. We went ahead and used our brake cleaner and clean off the flywheel. We're now ready to put the clutch on. The clutch was super easy to put on. Now we're just making sure we're torquing down all our bolts to spec. Alright, so we're going to take the lube that comes with the lube or grease, whatever you want to call it. It comes with the clutch kit. And,
Which doesn't come with the automatic, apparently, only the manual.
Even though you do need it. So lightly, we're just going to coat the spline, not too much, because we don't want a lot that's going to attract a lot of debris here.
See how little you're adding.
Yeah. Some people say you just use a brush, but I'm just going to go ahead and use my fingers. Yeah, obviously you don't need a lot because you can see how much is provided.
Yeah. Get it right there, yeah.
Now it is time to go ahead and get this thing into the car.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
All right. I'll put that right there because we still got to get the transmission
underneath it.
We'll pull it from the top. The only thing I don't like is, what we talked about before, on the automatic, it had a hole or where we could hook right in the middle of the transmission to keep it balanced. This has it towards the back, so we'll see. So yeah,
let's get to doing.
Get cracking. Okay, we are now underneath the car with the strap. And Brittany, you want to start?
Yep.
Bring it up.
Well, real quick, so on the automatic, there's a hookup on the top. Here, you don't have a hook, it's on the side. So what I did is I strapped it to the hook and then I went underneath it so we could get an even level. If not, we'd be pulling it up sideways.
Bring her on up. All right, so we do have all of our transmission bolts in. It's all bolted up. We torqued it down. So now we gotta get the mounts in, and then we can let go of this engine hoist and put it back, and then get to work on finishing this up. So I did have to bite the bullet. I had to go ahead and order a new transmission, lower transmission mount, because if you look, I mean, it just ripped all the way around. It's all dried out. So what's gonna happen is, most likely there's gonna be a vibration because this bushing inside is not whole and is going to be able to vibrate, allowing the whole drivetrain to vibrate and vibrating throughout the car. So we don't want that. So we're gonna go ahead and just replace this. We found online for about 30 bucks, so not terrible. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wait a day and then get it and then put it in and then finish the rest. All right, guys. So this is what I got to replace this. But you can see this obviously is not gonna work. I mean, this is terrible. I mean, it's actually worse than this. It's not supposed to be like that. But somehow I did decide to order another one just to keep in back stock, because I'm sure I'm gonna have to do this again. And the other one that I ordered with the whole set of the 3 mounts, this one is good. So we can go ahead and put this one in, and I'm obviously just gonna go ahead and send this back. But it's a good thing I did order that second one just for my back stock, and I happen to be needing it sooner than I thought. Okay, so we got our mounts, we got our long black bolt, and let's get it. And Brittany decided to tackle this job. Next, we are going to go ahead and put our top motor mount in. Next, we have our bracket for our engine mounts to go right in there. And then now we need to line this up with that, so then we can put that bolt down in. All right, and this guy goes in. We did go ahead and we put the starter back into place. Then we go ahead and put these bolts back in. Okay, and the starter bolts are tightened. Now we have to go ahead and put our bracket back on. Bracket is on. Let's go ahead and put those bolts on. Okay, and then we just went ahead and tightened that bracket right there, so we're good with the starter. And while we're down here, let's go ahead and put this axle back in. Axle's not all the way in yet. We gotta kind of maneuver it in. Usually these axles just pop in easily, but for some reason this one I was having difficulty with. So I did end up removing the axle from the wheel hub and putting it into the transmission first. Then I was onto the driver's side. Okay, so we do have the axle all the way seated, hit in with our rubber mallet. We have the axle through our wheel hub, and we're now about to put the axle nut on. So let's go ahead and do it. And one thing to make sure, do not forget this ground wire. We just put that on now, but as you can guess, your car will not start without that, so make sure that's on. All right, next is going to be our hydraulic line. Take this little boot out. It's gonna go right into here. Okay, make sure that it is pushed in all the way. And we see it is all the way seated in there. Then we're going to go ahead and take our clip. All right, just like that. Then the 2 ground cables. Okay guys, we did get both ball joints in, both axles, so suspension is good. This side we're ready to go. We're gonna put the wheel on right now. Okay, now it is time to bleed the clutch system. We do have a clear tube on our bleeder, along with a catch can here. And we're gonna go ahead and fill the reservoir right now. Let's go ahead and get that filled. Now let's go ahead and press these brakes. Okay, you can see that we do have clutch fluid coming through, going into here. So we're gonna go ahead and turn our bleeder valve right here. You can see it traveling up. Oh yeah, guys. Oh yeah. But we still have some air bubbles. All right, guys, and our clutch pressure is feeling pretty good right now. Pretty happy with it. I think we're close. Okay, and you can see there are like no more bubbles. It's all brake fluid. So now what we're gonna do is we turn this valve off, and we're just gonna pull this right off like that, and we are done with the bleeding process. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this. Now it is time to go ahead and fill the transmission fluid down there. So this is what I have set up to fill the transmission fluid. I have the funnel all the way down there. I believe this is 9/16 clear tube I got from Ace Hardware for a couple bucks. So we're gonna use this and fill the transmission through the top. And yes, even though this is not a dual clutch transmission, this is a manual, it still calls for the dual clutch motorcraft transmission fluid, which is pretty expensive. Home stretch, we just put our battery box in. All we really gotta do left now is put our intake box in and get this off the jack stands, and we're good. Right, we're gonna go ahead and get this negative terminal out. Slide that back. Make sure to clip that guy in right down there. Okay, we got that battery box put together. All right, we got some power. Time to let it down. Woohoo! All right, guys, we now have our battery in after it charged last night. We're gonna fire it up and hopefully the car runs and it runs good. Let's see what happens. And unfortunately, I heard something that I didn't like. It almost sounded like a cicada every time I let off the clutch pedal. I'm sure you can agree that that does not sound good. And, well, the transmission has to come out because we do think we put the clutch in backwards. All right, and here we go again. About to lower this transmission. Let me actually, and transmission back out. Okay, guys, we've pulled off our clutch. Let's see if we had the right side on this whole time or not. Well, there you go. For some reason, I decided to put gearbox side of the clutch onto the motors, onto the engine side, so that is my fault. Okay, now as you can see, our gearbox side is right there. So let's get this transmission back in and try this again. Okay, guys, it's time to take this thing for a ride. I think it's gonna drive pretty good. All right, so we do have a couple lights on right now. We do have the tire pressure light on and the ABS, which is triggering the hill assist. But let's see how this thing drives. So we are currently in second, third, fourth, and fifth. Guys, we are looking good. We are looking really good. All right, back to second, back to first. Nice view of the water. All right, let's get this thing up. Yep. Oh yeah, I'm so happy with how this car drives now. This is so awesome. Well, that's it for this episode, guys. Thanks for watching.